Before you continue listening, ask yourself something honestly. When was the last time you truly felt a moment, instead of just passing through it? It was a quiet evening in a small town. The sky was soft and gray, and the wind moved gently through the trees. Inside a small old house, a man sat alone. His name was Daniel. He was not very old, but not young either. He lived a simple life. Every morning he woke up early, made his tea, and went to work. His life was calm, predictable, silent. But Daniel had a problem. He could hear people, but he didn't really listen. You see, there is a difference. Hearing is easy. It happens without effort. But listening requires attention, patience, and care. Daniel worked in a bookstore. People came in every day. Some were happy, some were tired, some were lost in their own thoughts. They asked questions. Where can I find this book? Do you have something interesting to read? Can you recommend anything? And Daniel always gave short answers. Yes. No. Over there. He never asked anything back. He never said, "Tell me more." He never truly saw the people in front of him. And slowly, without realizing it, his world became smaller and quieter. Until one day, everything changed. It was raining that afternoon. Not a light rain, but heavy, steady rain that filled the streets with sound. The kind of rain that makes people slow down. That makes the world feel distant. The door of the bookstore opened quietly. A woman stepped inside. Her clothes were slightly wet, her hair clung softly to her face, and her eyes looked tired. Daniel looked up. "Can I help you?" he asked. The woman paused for a moment. Then she gave a small smile. "I'm not looking for a book," she said softly. Daniel frowned slightly. That was unusual. "Then what are you looking for?" he asked. The woman looked at him carefully. Not quickly, not casually, but deeply. And then she said something strange. "I'm looking for someone who listens." Daniel didn't understand. "What do you mean?" he asked. The woman walked closer and sat down near the counter. She took a slow breath. "I mean someone who really listens," she said. "Not just hears words, but understands them." Something shifted inside Daniel. A feeling he hadn't felt in a long time. Uncertainty. Curiosity. Maybe even discomfort. For a moment, he didn't know what to say. But then slowly, he walked around the counter and sat across from her. "Okay," he said quietly. "I'm listening." The woman smiled again. This time her smile felt warmer. "My name is Alina," she said. "I've been traveling for a long time." Daniel nodded. He didn't interrupt. He didn't look away. He simply listened. "I go from place to place," Alina continued. "Meeting new people, seeing new things." She paused. "But most people don't really hear me." Daniel felt something uncomfortable again. Because deep down he knew. He had been that kind of person. Alina continued speaking. "Sometimes I talk, and it feels like my words disappear," she said. "Like I'm there, but not really seen." Daniel leaned forward slightly. And for the first time, he spoke differently. "You're not invisible," he said softly. Alina looked at him, surprised. Because this time, he wasn't just replying. He was understanding. And in that quiet bookstore, a real conversation began. Alina told him about her journey. She spoke about cities full of noise, about long roads and empty nights, about laughter and loneliness. Daniel listened to every word, not just with his ears, but with his attention, with his presence. For the first time in his life, He wasn't waiting to speak. He was simply there. Time passed without them noticing. The rain continued outside. But inside, something peaceful had formed. When Alina finally stood up to leave, she looked lighter, calmer. "Thank you," she said. Daniel nodded slowly, and something inside him had changed. The next day, a customer walked into the bookstore. "Do you have this book?" the man asked. Daniel replied, "Yes, we do." Then he paused and added something new. "Why are you looking for it?" The man smiled. "It reminds me of my childhood," he said. Daniel felt something open inside him. "Tell me more," he said. And the man did. He spoke about old memories, about family, about moments that mattered. And Daniel listened. Really listened. Days turned into weeks. And Daniel kept changing. Slowly, he began asking more questions. "How do you feel? What happened next? Are you okay?" And something beautiful happened. People began to open up. They shared stories. They laughed. Sometimes they even cried. And Daniel understood something important. Listening is a gift. Not something you give quickly, but something you offer fully. One day Alina returned. This time the sun was shining. She walked into the bookstore and smiled brightly. "You've changed," she said. Daniel smiled back. "I think I have," he said. Alina looked at him. "What did you learn?" she asked. Daniel thought for a moment. Then he said, "I learned that listening is not just about ears. It's about the heart." Alina nodded gently. "And when you listen," she said, "you give people a place to exist." Daniel repeated those words quietly. A place to exist. And he understood. From that day on, Daniel was no longer the same man. His life became richer. Not because he had more things, but because he had more understanding. He noticed small details. The way someone's voice changed when they were sad. The way silence could speak louder than words. He learned to be patient, to be present, to truly hear what people were saying and what they were not saying. And one day, Alina came to say goodbye. "I have to leave again," she said softly. Daniel felt a deep emotion inside him. But he didn't try to stop her. Instead, he asked, "Where will you go next?" Alina smiled. "Somewhere new," she said. "Somewhere I can listen again." Daniel nodded. "Thank you," he said quietly. Alina shook her head. "No," she replied gently. "You taught yourself by choosing to listen." And then she left. The bookstore became quiet again. But this time, it didn't feel empty. Because Daniel had learned something powerful. And now let me ask you something. Are you listening? Or just hearing? Take a moment. Think about your last conversation. Did you truly listen? Or were you waiting to speak? Now slowly repeat after me. I am listening. I am present. I care about what you say. Tell me more. I understand. You are not alone. Language is more than words. It is connection. It is feeling. It is understanding. And when you truly listen, you don't just learn English. You learn people. And that changes everything. The train was late. It always was. Every evening, at exactly the same time, people gathered on the old platform waiting, checking their phones, looking down the empty tracks. Among them stood a young man named Amir. Amir didn't like waiting, but he did it every day. Because every day, he had nowhere else to be. He worked in a small office in the city. A quiet job, repetitive work, numbers, emails, screens. His life moved, but it didn't feel alive. Every day felt the same. Wake up, work, go home, sleep. And in between, silence. Not the peaceful kind of silence, but the kind that feels heavy. The kind that makes you think too much. That evening, the sky was turning orange. The sun was slowly disappearing behind the buildings. Amir stood near the edge of the platform, watching the tracks. Waiting. Always waiting. Then he noticed something. An old man sitting on a bench. The man wasn't looking at his phone. He wasn't checking the time. He wasn't restless. He was simply watching. Watching people. Watching the sky. Watching the moment. Amir found it strange. How could someone just sit there, doing nothing? After a few minutes, Amir sat down on the same bench. Not too close, but not too far either. There was a quiet space between them. The old man spoke first. "The train is late again," he said calmly. Amir nodded. "It always is," he replied. The old man smiled slightly. "Yes, but people still rush as if it will arrive faster." Amir looked at him. He didn't know why, but that sentence felt different. Simple but meaningful. "What do you mean?" Amir asked. The old man turned his head slowly. "I mean," he said, "people are always in a hurry, even when there is nowhere to go faster." Amir stayed silent, because he knew it was true. The old man continued. "Tell me, why are you in a hurry?" Amir opened his mouth to answer, but nothing came out. He didn't have a clear reason. "I don't know," he finally said. The old man nodded. "That's honest," he said. Then he pointed toward the tracks. "You see those rails?" he asked. Amir looked. "Yes." "They only go in one direction," the old man said. "No matter what, they follow the same path." Amir listened carefully. "And many people live like that," the old man continued. "They move forward, but they never choose where they are going." Amir felt something shift inside him. A quiet realization. Because that sounded like his life. The train was still not there. Time passed slowly. But for the first time, Amir didn't feel impatient. "Do you come here every day?" Amir asked. The old man smiled. "Yes," he said. "I like watching people." "Why?" Amir asked. "Because everyone has a story," the old man replied. "But most people never stop long enough to understand it." Amir thought about that. "How do you understand someone's story?" he asked. The old man looked at him with calm eyes. "You observe, you listen, and you stay curious." Amir repeated quietly. "Observe, listen, stay curious." The old man nodded. "Yes, that is how you learn not just language but life." Amir leaned back slightly. The noise of the station faded into the background. For once, he wasn't thinking about work. He wasn't thinking about tomorrow. He was just present. "Can I ask you something?" Amir said. "Of course," the old man replied. "How do you stop feeling empty?" Amir asked softly. The old man didn't answer immediately. He looked at the sky, now turning darker. Then he said, "You don't fill emptiness with noise." He paused. "You fill it with meaning." Amir frowned slightly. "What does that mean?" he asked. "It means," the old man said slowly, "you must do things that matter to you, not just things that pass time." Amir stayed quiet. Because deep down he understood. His life was full of time, but empty of meaning. The train still hadn't arrived. But something more important had. A conversation. A moment. A shift. "Let me ask you something," the old man said. Amir nodded. When was the last time you tried something new? He asked. Amir thought. He searched his memory. Days, weeks, months. Nothing. I don't remember, he said. The old man smiled gently. That is the problem, he said. Amir felt the truth in those words. Not harsh, not judgmental. Just honest. Start small, the old man continued. You don't need to change your whole life in one day. Amir listened carefully. Just change one thing, the old man said. One habit, one thought, one action. Amir nodded slowly. One thing, he repeated. Yes, the old man said. And do it with full attention. The station announcement echoed in the background. The train was finally arriving. People stood up quickly. They rushed forward. Noise returned. Movement returned. But Amir stayed seated for a moment longer. He looked at the old man. Will I see you again? He asked. The old man smiled. Maybe, he said. Or maybe you won't need to. Amir stood up. But before he left, he said, Thank you. The old man nodded. Remember, he said softly, your life is not a train schedule. Amir paused. It doesn't have to follow the same path every day. Amir stepped onto the train. But something felt different. The same train. The same people. But a different mind. A different awareness. The next morning, Amir did something unusual. He woke up early. Not because he had to, but because he chose to. He stepped outside. The air was cool. The streets were quiet. And for the first time in a long time, he noticed the world, the sound of birds, the light of the rising sun, the feeling of being alive. He took a deep breath, slowly, fully, and he said quietly to himself, I am here. Days passed, and Amir kept his promise. He changed one small thing each day. He started asking questions. He started listening more. He started noticing details. And slowly, his life began to feel different. Not bigger, not louder, but deeper, more meaningful. And sometimes in the evening, he returned to the station. He sat on the same bench, watching people, listening, learning, waiting but not for the train, waiting for moments, because now he understood something important. Life is not about rushing forward. It is about being present where you are. And now let me ask you something. Are you rushing through your life? Or are you living it? Take a moment, breathe slowly, and repeat after me. I am not in a hurry. I choose my path. I notice the small things. I listen. I learn. I grow. You don't need a big change. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need one small step. One new choice. One moment of awareness. Because when you change how you see the world begins to change for you. And that is where your real journey begins. The cafe opened at sunrise. Every morning, before the streets became noisy, before the city fully woke up, a soft golden light filled the small space. The smell of coffee spread slowly through the air. Warm, familiar, comforting. Behind the counter stood a young woman named Sarah. Sarah liked quiet mornings. Not because they were empty, but because they felt honest. No rush, no pressure, no noise. Just time moving gently. Every day she followed the same routine. She turned on the lights. She cleaned the tables. She prepared the coffee machines. And then she waited. Customers came and went. Some smiled. Some looked tired. Some didn't say anything at all. Coffee, they would say. 1 sugar. No milk. Take away. Sarah nodded. She made the drinks. She handed them over. And the people left. Short conversations. Small moments. Nothing more. But Sarah noticed something. People were always in a hurry. Even in a quiet cafe. Their minds were somewhere else. Thinking about work. Thinking about problems. Thinking about what comes next. Very few people were truly present. And somehow, that made Sarah feel a little lonely. One morning, something different happened. The door opened slowly. An older woman walked in. She moved carefully, but not weakly. There was something calm about her. Something steady. She looked around the cafe, as if she was really seeing it. Not just passing through. Sarah smiled politely. "Good morning," she said. The woman returned the smile. "Good morning," she replied gently. But she didn't come to the counter immediately. Instead, she chose a seat near the window. She sat down and simply looked outside. Watching the street. Watching the light. Watching the moment. Sarah noticed. It was unusual. Most people came in, ordered quickly, and left. But this woman stayed. After a few minutes, Sarah walked over. "Would you like something?" she asked softly. The woman looked up. "Yes," she said. "A cup of coffee," slowly. Sarah paused. "Slowly?" she asked. The woman smiled. Yes, not just the coffee, the moment. Sarah felt something shift inside her. She nodded. "Okay," she said quietly. Sarah prepared the coffee carefully. She didn't rush. She listened to the sound of the machine, the pouring of the liquid, the gentle movement of her own hands. For the first time in a long time, she was fully present in what she was doing. She brought the cup to the table. The woman looked at it, then at Sarah. "Thank you," she said. But she didn't drink it immediately. She held the cup, feeling its warmth, breathing in the aroma, taking her time. Sarah stood there for a moment, curious. Then she asked, "Why do you drink coffee like that?" The woman looked at her kindly. "Because moments pass quickly," she said. "And most people don't notice them." Sarah listened carefully. "They drink fast, they move fast, they think fast," the woman continued. "But they forget to feel." Sarah sat down across from her, without thinking. "Feel what?" she asked. The woman smiled. "Everything," she said. She lifted the cup slightly. "The warmth," she said. "The smell, the taste, the silence around it." Sarah looked at her own hands. She had made hundreds, maybe thousands of cups of coffee. But she had never really experienced one. "Not like this." "Try it," the woman said softly. Sarah hesitated. Then she went back, made a cup for herself, and returned. She sat down. She held the cup. At first it felt strange, unfamiliar. But then slowly, she noticed something. The warmth in her hands, the soft steam rising, the quiet around her. She took a small sip. And for a brief moment, everything felt still, peaceful, real. Sarah looked up. "This feels different," she said. The woman nodded. "Yes," she said. "Because you are here." Sarah repeated quietly. "I am here." The woman smiled. "That is something most people forget," she said. Time passed slowly. But it didn't feel slow. It felt full. "Do you come here often?" Sarah asked. The woman shook her head. "No," she said. "I go wherever I feel I need to be." Sarah tilted her head slightly. What do you mean? The woman looked out the window again. Some places need quiet, she said. Some people need presence. Sarah felt those words deeply. Do I need it? She asked softly. The woman looked at her gently. Yes, she said. Not in a sad way. Not in a critical way. Just honestly. Sarah didn't feel offended. She felt understood. And that changed everything. The cafe slowly began to fill with people. Noise returned. Orders were called. Cups were placed on tables. But something inside Sarah remained calm. Steady. Present. Before leaving, the woman stood up. She placed the empty cup on the table. Thank you, she said. Sarah smiled. No, thank you, she replied. The woman paused for a moment. Then she said, Don't let the world rush you too much. Sarah nodded. I won't, she said quietly. And then the woman left. The cafe felt the same. But Sarah was not. From that day on, she began to change small things. She slowed down her movements. She looked at people when they spoke. She listened not just to words, but to tone, to feeling. And something surprising happened. People noticed. Some stayed a little longer. Some smiled a little more. Some even started conversations. And Sarah realized something important. When you slow down, the world opens up. Days passed. Weeks passed. And every morning, Sarah returned to that quiet feeling. That awareness. That presence. Sometimes she made herself a cup of coffee. And she drank it slowly, feeling every moment. And sometimes she simply stood still, watching the sunlight enter the cafe. Because now she understood. Life is not just about moving forward. It is about experiencing where you are. And now let me ask you something. When was the last time you slowed down? When was the last time you truly felt a moment? Take a deep breath. Slowly, gently, and repeat after me. I am not rushing. I am present. I feel this moment. I notice the small things. I am here. You don't need to change everything. You don't need to escape your life. You just need to experience it fully. Because when you slow down, even the smallest moments become meaningful. And that is where peace begins.